This is quite possibly one of the greatest Harley Davidsons I've ever had the joy of riding. And I'm gonna tell you guys all about it right now. This is the 2025 Harley Davidson Road Glide CVO ST. Now, ST stands for Sport Touring. Ask a couple people to find that out, although it should have been obvious. And this is the most sport-oriented road glide that they've ever made. Well, actually, that's not true. It was the most sport-oriented road glide that they ever made until about a couple weeks ago, which I'm going to tell you about. I'll tell you about that bike in a little bit. But before I go too deep into this bike, let me explain to you the hierarchy of the Road Glide. So first they have the Road Glide, and that's the base model Road Glide. It looks similar to this, but has a lot more chrome on it. Then they had the Road Glide Special, which was the blacked out version of it, where the motor, it was less chrome and more just gloss black or flat black. Then they had their Road Glide Ultra, and that had the Tour Pack and kind of had all the nice gingerbread on it. Then they had the Road Glide Limited, and then they had the Road Glide CVO. So now that everything has changed, what you have is you have pretty much two basic Road Glide models. It dropped everything else but the base Road Glide. Starts at $27,000 and you can customize a lot of different parts of it. And then you have the CVO Road Glide, which starts at $45,000. Now this is the ST CVO Road Glide, which is actually $1,000 less than the regular CVO Road Glide. And I'll explain to you more about that later. But then you have the the regular Road Glide CVO, which has just all the everything on it. And if you want to have a tour pack and you want to modify it, you can actually modify the stuff inside the website. You can go and click buttons. You can add stereo. You can add tour pack. You can change the seating. You can change the handlebars. I think you can change the handlebars. You can change a lot of stuff on it. What you can't change is the engine. You cannot change the engine yet. So what Harley has figured out was that it's easier for people to spec out their bike the way they want it to be than for us to go there and then work with the service department and be like, oh, let me get this. You know, you get to virtually see what these things are going to look like on your bike. But then they came out with the Mac Daddy model of them all, and it just came out a little while ago, and that is the Road Glide CVO RR. And that bike is a $110,000 motorcycle. And it's pretty much a full complete race bike that you can take it and just go to the track with. And they're only making 131 of those. They're really cool looking, and I think they might all be sold out, or they're only selling to the dealerships because you can't buy one online through their website. So compare this to the base and compare it to the flagship bike. I think it's a pretty good bargain, where it's half the price of the flagship bike, but it has a lot of the similar components, but it's a lot more than the base. But if you were to do all these modifications to make the base look and perform like this, you'd be $35,000 just in parts on a $27,000 bike, which is why for $45,000, that's a pretty good deal. And trust me, I did a lot of these modifications to my Road King, and add the parts, add the labor to do it. It's not cheap. So let's talk about the engine. This is a 121 Screaming Eagle motor. Now it's different than the regular CVO motor, where the regular CVO motor has variable valve timing. So variable valve timing is for the purpose of getting good fuel economy and having optimum power. For the ST model, they're like, forget variable valve timing. We just want all power. Who cares about fuel efficiency? Now it's still gonna get you like, I don't know, 45, 50 miles to the gallon if you choose to drive that way. But this is the most powerful one you can get outside of the RR. They say it's 127 horsepower and 145 foot-pounds of torque. We actually had this thing on the dyno the other day, and it was pretty impressive at 117 horsepower, which is 7% off of what they're claiming, which is pretty darn good. And all that power goes from the engine to the 6-speed transmission through a belt drive and into the 18-inch back tire, which is normal for the Harley Davidson FL bikes. Now come over here, you will notice a very different looking floorboard. It's actually mounted slightly higher than normal, but also it's easy to pivot up, and they made this to almost be like a floorboard peg, some type of hybrid, where if you're getting really low, and that's what these bikes are made for. They're not made for just drag race or touring. They're made for really cornering. So if you're getting this thing really low, this right here is going to drag first. This is a wear item. You can unscrew this thing off and put new ones back on there. We see this in sport bikes. If you're dragging low, this will come up a little bit, nice and easy, and you'll be able to keep on. You're not going to, high side or low side your bike from that. But very cool. However, depending on what kind of boots you're wearing, when I wear some type of boots, this gets real slippery. So I'm not sure how trying to figure out how to solve that problem. The other cool thing you're seeing, and this is really coming off of, Harley's taking hints from what people are doing. You're seeing these, what you think might be highway pegs, they're not highway pegs. They're crash bars, and they kind of look more like stunt bars. And it's a cool look. We've seen this in the aftermarket for a couple years, but Harley's like, I like it, let's do it. You might think that you'll be able to hop on here and put your leg up on these. I guess you kind of can if you go around it. With this big giant intake, it's kind of in the way of you throwing your leg up on there, but on the left side you definitely can. I think they look awesome because everyone likes the idea of having engine guards, crash guards on their bike, because you mess up this nice fairing, this is not going to be cheap to fix. But the big ones kind of got, it looks a little old, looks a little dated. A lot of people are taking them off, so I think this is really cool. Now coming around the front, obviously classic shark mouth, shark fin front fairing. This is a new design. I think they started last year. It's got air passages going in here, air passage going up there. But come down here, you have the forged carbon front fender, which is a very nice, sleek look. It's also going to save you a little bit of weight. However, the bike is extremely heavy. I guess any weight you save is a pretty big deal. And it's got the inverted front forks, which is a huge and very expensive upgrade to do. It's also rocking the Brembo brakes. This thing stops and handles extremely well. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Now, if you come over here, you might not notice it, but the first thing you will notice if you've been riding another Road Glide is they just have a toe shifter. They ditched the heel shifter. I don't notice it. I never really use the heel shifter that much, but guys who are used to using heel shifter, they got kind of used to it. You could always throw one on there, not a big deal. So they stripped this bike down to ditch if you don't need it, and to try to lose weight to make the ST. They charge us a little less money for it. However, I have not confirmed this. I think they removed the heated grips off of this, which I like heated grips. So that kind of sucks. Now on the ST model, they ditched the passenger seat. They also ditched the passenger pegs. You can always grab them from Harley or aftermarket if you want to. Maybe I will someday. I don't know. Now compare this. If you come back here and look at the bike this way, you'll notice that the thing you were getting with like the specials and the Harleys a couple years ago is kind of that long stretch bag look, and that was real popular. So the bags were kind of stretching around the exhaust. That was cool back then. It's kind of phasing out, and I like that. I like that they're phasing it out, because what I'll probably do is go into a 2-to-1 exhaust. 1, save weight. 2, generally creates more power, and it's not going to look as goofy with the other bag kind of hanging down like this, where there should be an exhaust right there. Now the ST comes in 3 different unique colors, unique from any other Road Glide that Harley's selling. They've got the Mercury Silver, they've got the Hot Lap, which is a premium color, which is $5,000 more expensive than the base color, putting that bike around $50,000. Then they have this one, the Rally Red. I think the Rally Red is the coolest color out there, and I think I even like this better than if it was orange. I do like orange, but I think this Rally Red looks really sharp. Also, check it out. This guy unscrews. This guy comes out. So you can see how light this forged carbon is. And then you got screws right here that you can pull the seat off without using any tools. If you wanted to, that's where the passenger seat would go. I think this is pretty sharp looking. And I like how clean it fits in there. So Harley started in racing, and now they're continuing racing, and I really like it because of what I'm going to show you when we take it for a test drive, and it's a really, really fun bike to ride. The other cool thing about it is the infotainment center. Here, come here, let me show you. Oh yeah, also fully adjustable front and rear suspension. That's some race bike stuff. So I can turn the bike on and do the infotainment center, or I can just hold this button down right here, and it'll turn it on. Now, just with a touch of a button, you have all your ride info. I don't know what calendar means. That's oil, that's how many miles till empty. I can flip that up. My trip, my hours, miles per gallon, average speed. There's also multiple different displays. I got sport layout, I got tour layout, I've got cruise layout, and I probably like that's more of a classic Road Glide gauge system. What I like this tour layout. So it's the first Harley I've ever had or road that had this many different ride modes. Well, now that's not true. The Pan American did too, and the Sportster S. So that's not true. But it's got different ride modes. It's got your rain, it's got your sport, it's got your road, and it's got 2 customizable track modes that you guys can change the parameters on. And let me show you what you can do in those track modes. So you got rain, you got custom B, custom A, custom track mode, regular track mode, sport mode, and then it goes back to it. So let's go to the custom mode. You can change engine map to the different ones. You can change engine braking to different numbers off the base. You can adjust your throttle response. You can adjust traction control. You can adjust ABS. It also has what I think is the coolest feature is Apple CarPlay. And the way you set up Apple CarPlay, put your phone in there, plug your phone in there, have your phone connected to the bike. Once you get it set up, it works really well. I really like it. My problem is I'm too busy trying to find the right song. I need to be focusing more on the road. Now, I can tell you all about the bike and all the features about the bike. It doesn't mean that much. Let me show you. Let's go take it for a ride. It does some things that are very unique to Harley. Right now, I'm really enjoying riding this bike. It sounds pretty good, just stock, in its stock form. Hear that intake sucking in? Before we do the test drive, let me tell you guys about the sponsor of this video, and that is my own product, M1 Moto Fast Detailer. I use it on all the bikes to clean them up after I ride and make them look good for videos like this. If you don't have bugs exploded on the front of your bike, then the problem is you're not going fast enough. And I get a lot of bugs on my bike. I use the M1 Moto Fast Detailer to spray it off, and so I don't have to like clean the entire bike and get it out the pressure washer and stuff. I can keep this bike looking as brand new for as long as I possibly can, just with regular maintenance of cleaning and wiping down this thing. So you can buy this product on Amazon or the bikesandbeardsgear.com right here on the QR code or in the link in the description. It also comes with one of the best microfiber towels that I've seen, and I've tested hundreds of these microfiber towels. Now let's get back to the test drive. All right, before we test drive this thing, let's do the words of wisdom real quick. Philippians 4:13. Oh, everyone should know this one. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Some versions are through Christ who strengthens me, referring to the same person. All right, so there's no switch anymore. No more switch. Also, the key, where's the key at? The key is awesome. Let me show you the key real quick. Really cool looking CVO ST key with the flip out switchblade barrel. All right, so I've got to spend a decent amount of time on this bike. And it's so much fun. You know what, Harleys have always been comfortable. They've always been big couches on wheels, but now this one it kind of replaces a sport bike for me. Now, obviously it's not as fast, but it is quick. This thing, it claims it can do the quarter mile in 11.5. That's pretty quick. I was able to do it in 11.9. I just got to get better with my launches. But in a quarter mile, it hit like 117 miles an hour, which is, or something along that line, but it's pretty impressive. But it's fun. You're not gonna have like, you know, you're not gonna get caught doing 160 miles an hour. The bike's not geared, it just can't do it. So you're not gonna get in really high speed trouble, but hitting the corners at lower speeds, and riding around like this, the bike just wants to lay down. The bike just wants to corner. You feel so confident riding it. Now the STs, let me see if I can make this light. I probably can't. Now the ST has lower handlebars, and these handlebars are so perfect. Where the CVOs are up here, they're like mini apes, because everyone wants to put mini apes on their bikes. I think where these handlebars are, it couldn't get any better for me, to be honest. But this is more of a sportier stance of handlebars. It's comfortable and sport. Now, the Rockford Fosgate speakers are great. However, I wish maybe there is, I just don't know, but I wish there was a button that you can press that automatically brings the volume down on on the speakers so you don't pull up to a red light blasting Taylor Swift and everyone knows what you're listening to. It's also cool that you can set this thing up where your helmet comm, your phone, and the bike are all connected to each other. So I can have my GPS telling me directions on my helmet, and the audio and the music coming out of the speakers, or I could switch it. I'm not sure why you'd want to switch it, or you could switch it. The speakers are great. Some people might say, I wish they got louder. The rest of society is happy that they don't get any louder, because we don't need more people just driving around blasting their Born to Be Wild when they ride their road glide. We don't need that guy anymore. So I've never been on a Harley that felt so comfortable taking corners than this. With the suspension and the brakes, and it stops really, really well. I know this would not outstop a 600 or a liter bike. If you had a new enough rider, I think I could take him. I think I could outstop him. I could probably outdo him in the quarter mile too. To do a decent launch on this thing, it's fairly easy because it has a lot of bottom end torque. It's got a lot of its power at the low end, so that's not a problem. It's tougher to launch a bike that has all of its power at the mid and top end because you got to dump the clutch at a really high RPM. Now I feel like when I first got on this thing a couple 250 miles ago, the brakes didn't feel that good, but now they feel amazing. So I think there is a very small break-in period, and I'm glad I'm past that. But it feels really good. Other than going off-road, and this bike would be awful off-road, this bike checks so many boxes of being fun. Your buddy's like, hey man, let's go hit the twisties, let's go hit Blood Mountain, let's go straight up the corners. They're all jumping on their sport bikes. I'm happy jumping on this because I know I can keep up with them. And I know I'm going to be a lot more comfortable getting to it. And while we're there, up here, once we get the space, we'll do our 0-60. They say it's 4.4 seconds. Man, that feels slow to me. I really think I can do it faster. However, I thought I could do the quarter mile faster than what they claimed, and I couldn't. A lot of people are on the fence about the infotainment center. I like it. I think it's pretty cool looking. Is it gonna last 80 years? No, I don't think so. However, things that if people still want it to last 80 years, they'll figure out a way to fix it, and it'll be old hat, or they'll be able to update it. I think it looks cool. I think it works good. I like the buttons. I originally thought that this was a I don't know why I thought that, but I thought that this was a hydraulic clutch. It's not. It's just a cable clutch, and I guess I just made it a steel braided line cable clutch just to match the other one. So I don't really see the benefit of a steel braided line cable. Now, something else that Harley's done that I think is pretty cool, there's a lot of aftermarket components that you can do for your Harley Davidson. They're like Jeep, they're like anything else. There's a lot of stuff, but you don't have to go outside of Harley to modify your bike anymore. Harley's got a really nice line. They got it dialed in of products that will fit your bike. They're going to fit your bike perfectly, and they still keep you under warranty, which I think that's really awesome. And you can get these things pretty wild. You can almost build this into an RR by a lot of the parts that they sell. Not exactly, but you could almost get there, pretty close. Including that crate motor. Now it looks to me like they're phasing out, because I didn't see it on the website. Maybe if you go to the service counter, you can still get it, but it looks like they're phasing out the 131. However, I'm not sure why the new flagship RR bike has a 131 in it, same motor that I put in my Road King, and not the 135. I wonder if that was some type of regulation thing. I don't know, with like the racing commission or something. This bike just feels so at home in the twisties. Now, a normal Harley, you know, it's a motorcycle. Of course, it's going to feel at home in the corners. But this is just another notch into it. And I would love to get this thing on a racetrack. All right, up here should be a 60 miles an hour, and we'll do a 0 to 60 run and see what this thing can really do. There. Come on, that was pretty quick. Let's do one more. There. Fastest one ever. Yeah. Alright guys, I really enjoyed this bike. That wraps it up. YouTube thinks you might like this next video right up here, so check that out too. Remember, it is not what you're riding, but where are you going? We'll see you guys next time.